Boom, boom, boom. Peace and blessings. Peace, peace, peace. I'm about to hop on Insight Timer momentarily. Thank you all for joining me. Those who are watching now and those who will be watching tomorrow in the morning. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to everybody on Insight Timer. How y'all doing? Peace and blessings to everybody out there. How y'all doing? Let me know if you see me. Let me know if you feel me. Let me know if you're bringing your positive energy with you, your positive vibe with you, because I brought mine with me. Let's do it. Peace and blessings as you come in. Give me the greeting. Aloha. Assalamu alaikum. Hotep. Peace. Namaste. However you prefer. What's up? However you prefer. You here? Okay, Cass, what's up? How are you? Glad you're here with me. We're going to get started soon. Let me just throw some positive energy out there. Cassie, where you from? This is a lighter. I'm just trying to check to see how much fuel I have left. Las Vegas, okay. Daria, I'm doing excellent. Glad to see you guys here. Thank you for joining me. We're going to get started soon. I'll get started at the 7-minute mark. So as everyone comes in, we're just going to, speak to each other, greet each other, get an idea how everybody's feeling. How are you guys? How was your guys' week thus far? Hopefully no crazy challenges. How am I doing? I'm doing real good. I'm doing very, very well. I feel guilty. I didn't get a chance to practice my guitar. I meant to practice my guitar today. Didn't get around to it. Too much running around. So tomorrow I gotta spend at least an hour trying to learn this instrument. Quit your job. Okay, that's good. If it was weighing you down and stressing you out, I'm definitely happy that you were able to leave. Hopefully, some better doors open up for you, better opportunities open up for you. Yeah, definitely. Congratulations. Definitely congratulations. Was it a stressful job, Dari? Was your old job stressful? Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad you were able to get out of there before it drove you crazy. And it seems that you're in good spirits, so I'm glad to see that as well. Glad you feel much lighter. Yeah, I know today was a long day. A lot of running around. But I'm excited. Oh, always excited though. Sammy, what's up? How are you? I like your profile picture. I like the picture of the sky. It looks cool. Let us know how you doing, Sammy. How you been? How's your week so far? I'm doing great despite lots of unknown. Yeah, Rita. Hey, how are you, Rita? Hope all is well. I hope all is well, Rita. All right, you're very welcome. Isn't there a holiday or something coming up? I know Father's Day is next month, but I don't have any plans for Father's Day. But there's another holiday coming up, isn't there? I can't keep track. I always forget. Memorial Day. I knew it was one of them coming up. Hopefully I'm off work. Because I think that's a federal holiday. I might be off. Yeah, Rita, gratitude is amazing. Victoria Day. Is that for Queen Victoria? No, Canada is France. Salute, my brother. Salute. What's going on? You can tell I'm totally ignorant. I apologize. I'm totally ignorant of Canada. Victoria Day. What is that celebrate, Dottie? Oh, from British Columbia. Oh, okay, so that is for the Queen. Okay. So my guess was accurate despite my ignorance. Nothing better than being right by accident. But I'm glad you guys are here. We're gonna get started soon. Um, yeah, tonight's discussion is gonna be an interesting one. I did take some notes and put down some notes in advance, but really, honest truth of the matter is, I wanted to be more of a conversation because I think this is a conversation that a lot of us probably need to have. I'm getting the feeling like this might be a conversation a lot of us may need. And it's not as I'm not gonna get all crazy and mystical like I always do. I want to have a simple conversation and encourage each other. But I think it's gonna be pretty cool. But let me send some positive energy out to everybody. I can't even lie. Doing these Wednesday night live streams is like a good experience. It's a fun experience for me, and it's an enjoyable and really profound experience for me. And I want to thank you guys for showing up and hanging out. Everybody who gets a chance to stop by and hang out with the bearded one. I'm very grateful for that. Thank you guys. Peace and blessings to all of y'all. Love all of y'all. All righty. Let's begin. We're at the 7 minute mark now. Just want to say that to be here and talk to you guys. Karen, yes, indeed. I think this will be a cool conversation. I want to say that I love being here. Anybody who feels the spirit move you want to throw in a donation, I'll greatly appreciate it. All my donations are just going to me trying to market and promote my book that I wrote, or a book to teach kids how to meditate. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to market it, get the word out, get more people interested in it, get it in schools, etc., etc. Oh, you do? That's pretty cool, Kira. Yeah, that's our time, 11:11 on Wednesdays. That's awesome. But yeah, let's get started. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the strength in being vulnerable, right? That sounds melodramatic. Yeah, the bearded one. That sounds melodramatic, right? The strength in being vulnerable, and nobody wants to be vulnerable. As I watch more things on the internet and watch things on YouTube, I'm seeing everybody wants to have their armor on. Everybody wants to be invulnerable. Everybody wants to protect themselves. Nobody wants to get their heart broken anymore. And I get it. I get it. I understand. And let me just take a quick little survey. Hey Michelle, what's up? Let me take a quick little survey. Whoever is watching, if you want to share this information, that's cool. I just want to ask the question: who here watching tonight has been through a tough breakup, is going through a tough breakup, has gone through a divorce, and had to struggle, or may still be struggling? I'll raise my hand. Went through a tough breakup, went through a divorce. A lot of things changed. Currently, okay, Karen, currently. Michelle, not at the moment. Okay, okay. And I can definitely say the last thing I want to do, and I'm not even looking at my notes right now. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. The last thing in the world I want to do is be 42 years old and chubby and get back out into the dating world. I don't want to do that. I don't have no interest in going back out there. It seemed like I was in a relationship for 10 years, married for about 8 years, and that was a struggle enough that had its own issues, that had its own pitfalls and challenges. I do not want to go. You 42 years old, single and chubby. Well, I was talking about me. I didn't mean to make you feel that way, but I'm talking about me, my situation. But yeah, I don't want to go back out there. I don't want to. I felt like my relationship ran its course, and it's time to move on. And I'm happy with the way things are, and I have no problems, no ill will toward my ex-wife. But I gotta go back out there. Oh my goodness, I do not want to do that. I don't want to stay in my comfort zone, but at the same time, the world has changed a lot, and I don't want to go back out there. And there's a part of me that wants to connect. Yeah, yeah, you feel where I'm coming from. You feel where I'm coming from. There's a part of me that wants to connect, and there's a part of me that wants to open up. But there's another part of me that, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to articulate and put into words because I don't want to. I don't want to go through any nonsense. Speaking your darkness. Yeah, well, let's we're gonna find some light though. Don't worry, we're gonna find some light. That's the whole point of us having this conversation to support each other, and we're gonna find some light. And there's a part of you that wants to stay in the comfort zone of being alone, because being alone, is as sad as it is, can be comfortable. We pull our loneliness and wrap it around ourselves and hold it tight to ourselves. And sometimes that loneliness can be very warm. Yeah, 7 year engagement. Okay. Wow. And if you walked away from it and you feel happy about that, then I feel happy about that, Karen. Sometimes things run their course and it's better to just move on. Dating apps. Yeah, I haven't used a dating app yet. I don't want to use a dating app. 10 years single. Okay. Rita, you enjoy your own company. That's good. That's great. That's excellent. Me personally, I enjoy my own company as well. I think I'm funny. I'll be in a house by myself, walking around just dying laughing. But you know what though? I do have a desire to connect with somebody else and have somebody else share my goofy sense of humor and my self-deprecating wit. My razor sharp wit needs an audience. Yeah, the vulnerability is happening. You want to know why the vulnerability is happening? The vulnerability is happening because this is a safe space. It's a safe zone, and everything is done out of love for each other. So I think that here is kind of easier for us to open up because I'm trying to be as honest to keep it real as I can. Cassie, you're single for many years. Okay, excellent. I mean, if you're happy with that, then that's cool. That's cool. And I'm happy. I'm happy. Put it like this: I'm happy being single, but at the same time, I want to move forward in life. And for me, moving forward means having that connection again. I like that feeling, and I know I'm a hopeless, sappy romantic, and I walk around my heart on my sleeve. And I've done a lot of goofy things in the past, but I like that connection. I like the feeling of really totally being invested in somebody. I enjoy that, but it's hard after the collapse of a long-term relationship. After the collapse of a long-term relationship, it's hard to get back out there and start trying to connect again. And you know what? I understand it's for some people who don't want to go back out there because after you have that experience, it changes you, and maybe you feel like you don't want to the person you become. Maybe you feel like you don't want other people around right now. Yeah, being in love definitely is one of the best feelings in the world, but I think that I had to go through that experience because I had a lot to learn about love. When I was a kid growing up, I used to read all of these King Arthur stories and stories, about heroes who fell in love and found their true love and the Holy Grail and all that stuff. All these stories about true love, all these fantasy novels that I used to read, and sci-fi novels I used to read, and love was the central theme of all of these things. But I think it kind of distorted my perception of what love really is about and what marriage is really about, and a lot of things I was just ignorant of. And I've never said nothing negative about my ex-wife. I take responsibility for my ignorance. I was ignorant. I was an ignorant, sappy, goofy dreamer with his head in the clouds, and we live in a very real world. And Michelle, that's a good point. You don't want to waste time doing the same things, which is very important that before you move forward, you got to heal. I think that's the real reason. And you touched on something really important. That's the real reason why we're really afraid to reconnect is because we still haven't healed. We're afraid to connect with other people because we still have not healed. We haven't healed all the way. Because once you heal, it's like, for instance, somebody who plays basketball. You play basketball, you might have an injury. So, for instance, you break your arm playing basketball. Once your arm is healed, you're able to go back out there and keep playing if you want to. But if your arm is still messed up, you're not going back on that court. You're not grabbing that ball. You don't want nobody throwing you no passes. And I think that's a sign that a lot of us haven't healed. When you're not ready to move forward, or you're alone, or you're content with being alone, quite often I think that suggests that we have not healed. A lot of us don't move forward because we're still carrying that burden of the past with us. Relationships can be traumatic, and there's a term, what's it called? Relational interdependence, where you and a person that literally start to become one, in a sense where your habits change because of the person that you're with. How you talk changes because of the person that you're with, and vice versa. You have an impact and influence on each other. You kind of like develop sort of a union between each other, where once that union is broken and you're not together anymore, it can be physically painful. It can be physically painful, and it's like losing a part of yourself. That person was with you for so long, for whether it be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. That person was with you for so long that you became joined, and then they let go, or you let go, and it can be really, really tough. And it's something that you have to heal from. But when we don't heal, what happens is we end up stuck, and we end up. And this is one thing that human beings do. When we don't heal, we create a philosophy around the wound. We create philosophies around our wounds. We create a whole identity around our wound. So we got all this pain, right? But instead of us saying, let me heal this pain, what we end up doing is we create a philosophy around the pain. So now, well, I don't trust anybody in relationships anymore. I'm too smart to fall for that. I'm too smart to fall for anyone trying any trickery in a relationship. I've become wise. No, you're not necessarily wiser. You're just more cynical because you're hurt. But you're smart enough to create a philosophy around this hurt so that you can hide the fact you haven't healed. How did I figure that out already? Because I've been there. I know with trauma you create. What we do is we create a whole identity based upon our trauma. We become very, very avoidant of the pain. And so instead of us just going full fledged into trying to heal the pain, we create a philosophy so we can avoid the pain. A lot of people who I've met over the years who are cynical toward love and relationships are people who just have not healed. That's it. You just haven't healed. And you create this whole elaborate philosophy. I've met women who were feminists and men who were what they call red pill and all this. It just comes from the fact you haven't healed. You haven't healed. You want to connect with somebody again. You want to feel love, but you're afraid you can't because you haven't healed. And who the hell don't want to feel love? I was reading a book years ago that was talking about how important love is. Love is so important, and connecting with other human beings is so important that if you have a child who's not being loved, oh, don't worry about it. I'm glad you're here, Solomon. Salute to you. But if you have a child who's not being loved, what happens is the child actually grows up physiologically different from other kids, more prone to stress, more prone to sickness, weaker immune system, more prone to aggression, right? This is what happens when human beings don't get love. So imagine how you, as an adult, feel when you've basked in the glow of love and then it's gone. Just like a child who doesn't get love and they become aggressive and they act out, or they become isolationists and they stay away from everybody and they have a hard time. Same thing with us as adults. What's happening to you right now? And quite often we say to ourselves, well, I'm glad to be alone. I'm happy to be alone. I'm cool with being alone. I did the same thing. I'm cool with being alone. Nobody. Got my back when I was drinking, I got my bed. I don't need to be about nobody. I'm good. I'm cool. But really, we just creating this fictitious philosophy to hide our pain. I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to hide my pain no more. The ego is something else. The ego is very cunning. I had a line in a song, and y'all know I'll be singing. I can't sing, but I'll be singing. I had a line in a song years ago. I said, "My eyes are deceivers. My mind is a liar tonight." Your mind will lie to you. Ego will lie to you. But it's important that we connect with other people again. And it takes a certain level of bravery to do that. It takes a certain level of strength to do that. That's where healing comes from. Why do we have to heal? So we can regain our strength. If you, like I said before, you break your arm has to heal. So you can regain the strength to use that arm again. Same thing with your emotions and your mind and your central nervous system. Your central nervous system is involved, and your neurochemistry is involved, and your body is involved and connected with another human being. And you have to heal. You gotta heal. Why? Why do you have to heal? You have to heal so you can get strong again, so you can go out and love again. Why is love even important? And I know that a lot of people feel cynical about love. Love is intangible. Love is something immeasurable. But they say God is love, so you can't measure God either. But you know God is there. You look at the sun. Something put the sun up there and wrote the laws of the universe and made us of the planets dance around that sun. You ever see a cell? When you look at cells and see how they move and how they interact, there's a consciousness there. There's something there guiding all of this. It's a very beautiful thing. And that force behind all this life, behind all the laws and principles of the universe, that force is intangible and untouchable, right? Almost inconceivable. But it's there. And the same thing with love. You know you need it. When you ain't got it, you know you need it. So we gotta heal. We gotta be brave and we gotta heal. We gotta be brave and we gotta heal, but we must be wise. It says something in the Bible about be gentle as a lamb, but wise as a serpent. You gotta be wise. You gotta be wise. So if you made mistakes in your relationships in the past, if you love somebody too much too soon, or gave too much, or didn't give enough, let's learn from our mistakes. But we gotta heal. We have to heal because we created this huge big old barrier, and we're blocking out negativity, which is great. That's wonderful. That's great. But you're blocking out the sunlight. You're blocking out life. The experience of life is meant to be absorbed and taken in, but we so busy trying to defend ourselves and protect ourselves that we blocking out the beauty and the essence of life. And there's certain things that we need to do in order to engage in and grasp the beauty and the essence of life, and we missing out on it because we too scared to be hurt. And I'm tired of that. I don't want to be scared to be hurt no more. I never really was anyway. I always been a goofy, hopeless romantic that wore my heart on my sleeve, and I've been smacked around more than enough times. But hey, at least I got the bravery to come back and try. I have the intelligence to learn from my mistakes and the bravery to come back and try. And there's certain things that we have to do in order to touch the essence of life. You only just realizing that you haven't healed. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the trickery of the mind and the ego. Because you want to move forward so much. You want to move forward and put the past behind you. Okay, if I'm healed now. I've met people who went to therapy and went to therapy one day. They were like, oh yeah, I'm good. I don't need therapy no more. I'm healed. I guess everything's fixed now. You keep pulling away. Yeah, it's that fear. But you know what though? It's excellent that you're mindful enough, Michelle, to look at the situation and recognize what you're doing. That's a great, because now just that's the first step is recognizing what you're doing. You're recognizing what you're doing. And so many people, myself included, there were times in the past where I would have these same ridiculous patterns, being afraid of relationships, afraid of rejection, afraid of connecting, and I would self-sabotage but didn't recognize the pattern. I thought I was just cool. When I was in my 20s, I'd go on dates and just be drinking and taking shots and, go on dates high and drunk, thinking I was really cool, thinking I'm just this awesome, wild, Dionysian guy, thinking I'm like Jim Morrison or something. But this ain't the 1960s. I'm not Jim Morrison. I'm just a chubby dude who want to, connect with somebody. And we gotta get past that because we're missing out on the essence of life itself. And yes, there's going to be risks, but that's the whole point of growth. The whole point of growth and the whole point of self-development is so that you can be prepared to take risks without being destroyed. That's one thing that we miss out on. We think so much about how can I connect with somebody? How can I get laid? How can I meet somebody and get laid? We're just thinking about the immediate gratification and let's get this done. Let's meet somebody, let's fall in love, but we're not thinking about developing ourselves. So when we fall into these situations and then we get heartbroken or something happens that we don't want to happen, things don't go how we planned. Then what do? We shut down, we fall apart because we weren't developing ourselves before or during or after the experience. And that's sad because we dream so big, especially when you're thinking about love and talking about love. You dream so, at least I do. I'm probably the only dude left who even thinks like this. It's such an abnormal thing. And I'm in the middle of this talking to you. I'm going on this big wild rant and I'm realizing how embarrassing it is because nobody thinks like this. No dudes care about this stuff. I'm talking about this stuff. None of the guys I know talk about this stuff. None of the dudes I hang around with care about them stuff. Nobody cares about this stuff, except us. But I'm glad you guys are here because I don't feel so weird. But yeah, we dream so big. We dream so big, but we're not preparing ourselves to achieve the dream or to accept the dream. You glad you're hearing from a man who does? Yeah, I'm glad I'm getting it off my chest too. I can't talk like this for the most part. Nah, it's not. Trust me, Michelle. It's not embarrassing. It's not embarrassing to be single for 10 years. It's not embarrassing. I mean, at the end of the day, our situation is our situation, and I'm not gonna be embarrassed by my situation. I'm just gonna grow. If I'm not happy with my situation, I have to acknowledge that and grow. And that goes back to what we're talking about self development. And it takes bravery. It takes bravery to reconnect after things fell apart. It takes bravery to look at yourself and want to improve yourself. It takes bravery to develop yourself and put in the work. Yeah, exactly. We're all here for our reasons. And we're all here because being vulnerable is scary as hell. Being vulnerable is a scary thing. You sis, what? You mean to actually sit here and talk to another person and open up to another person who got they got a whole set of a whole agenda of their own, whole set of rules, whole set of trauma, whole set of their own issues. And then you got to like sift through other people who may have had similar experiences to yours and they may not have healed and they may be heartbroken. Yeah. You're putting your energy in a part of yourself into somebody else's hands. And you can only really do that if you're strong. That's why self-development is so important. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Connecting with broken souls. Good way to put it. But we don't we grow up and we understand we don't want that. We don't want that no more. You don't want to be broken and then connect with somebody else who's broken and then cling to each other for dear life because neither one of you have the ability to be independent. What you want is two fully developed people to connect and create a really wonderful, beautiful, stable situation. That's what self development is so important. So we could drink in the essence of life. No nobody else can complete you. We're looking to other people for completion. That's why we're afraid of being vulnerable because we feel incomplete. We feel incomplete and we want to reach out to somebody else to connect because we feel like we need that other person to fulfill us and satisfy us and help us to develop and elevate. But you understand, you realize the sun fears nothing. The sun is complete in and of itself. Even if all life on planet Earth died right now, the whole everything could fall apart and the sun gonna just still be there shining. The sun is complete. Once you're complete, you can handle these. There's an old song, common disasters, they call it. Won't you share a common disaster? The Cowboy Junkies. Anybody know that song? I'm probably the only person that remembers that. Cowboy Junkies had two songs I liked. Common Disaster and did a cover of Sweet Jane by Velvet Underground. Beautiful. Yeah, song break, yeah. Sweet Jane, la la la, sweet sweet Jane. You on the corner down in the alley, waiting for Jimmy to come back home. Yeah, I remember that song. But anyhow, see what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard to connect with somebody new. As crazy as I am, I just break out and start singing old '90s alternative rock songs out the blue. It's gonna be hard, but it's okay. But as I was saying, the sun is complete. The divine is complete. Creation is complete. The all is complete. God is complete. So when you tap into your own divinity and develop yourself, you don't have to be afraid to open up to other people because you don't need that other person for completion. That other person can come into your life and bring love and light and joy into your life. And if you have to let them go, or if they decide to go, then you won't fall apart because you're complete. That's why self development is so important to stability. Because if a person is with you and you're not complete, and they feel complete and you're not complete, when they walk away, they'll be fine and you'll fall apart. So we have to complete ourselves and develop ourselves and learn first and foremost. The most important relationship is to love yourself. I realize a lot of people who love themselves become invulnerable. We're afraid of vulnerability because we don't love ourselves enough. That's where the strength to be vulnerable comes from. The strength to be vulnerable comes from us really respecting and loving ourselves enough. And that's what I'm working on myself. So I'm not going to sit here and preach to you guys like I'm already there. I'm striving for that myself. I want to love myself enough and love myself more so that I can, connect with other people and stand strong if they decide to come or go. So when you have enough self-love, you protect yourself anyway. When you have enough self-respect, you protect yourself anyway. And you can be vulnerable. Not stupid. I'm not saying be stupid, but you can be vulnerable. You're going to have to be vulnerable. There are certain things in life that you need to do that we as human beings need to accomplish that's going to require vulnerability. I made a list. I made a list of things that we have to do to we have to be vulnerable in order to do it, but we have to do these things in order to live life to the greatest. The difference between stupid and invulnerable is invulnerable means that if something happens, I won't be destroyed. Stupid means that I put myself in situations where something's gonna happen and it's gonna destroy me. Yeah, at the end of the day, you're always your constant companion. So there's four things that I want to talk about real quick that we need to do in order to live life to the fullest. That's experimentation, collaboration, integration, and synchronization. In order to unlock the doors within ourselves and have great experiences and grow and develop, it's going to take those four things. And those four things, they will unlock the door to the very essence of life, and you'll feel a deep sense of joy and a deep sense of satisfaction and a deep sense of curiosity and wonder at the experience of life. But in order to do all of those things, it's going to require vulnerability. Experimentation. What's experimentation? Trying new things, going new places, trying new paths, learning, and ultimately trying new identities. In order to do these things, to try new identities, to become someone else new, to try being somebody else new, to try to break habits, to try to meet new people, have new experiences, new food, new music, you're gonna have to open up and be vulnerable. When I say new identities, I mean that growth requires you to literally become somebody else. If I went through depression and anxiety for years. That was my identity. My brain operated based upon that identity. So I thought like an anxious person. I behaved like an anxious person. I ate food like an anxious person because that it affects your diet as well. You know what I mean? My dietary routine, my exercise regimen, all of that was based upon anxiety and depression. So in order for me to change from being anxious and dealing with anxiety and overcoming anxiety, I had to change my habits, change my thinking, change how I walk, talk, dress, eat, change what I watch on TV. I literally had to become a new person. In the Bible, Jesus Christ talks to Nicodemus about being born again. Nicodemus says, how can a man be born again when he's already born the first time? What does that mean? And Jesus had to explain to him, you got to become somebody else. Exactly. Exactly. Change from who you are now to something that's more positive and more developed. Exactly. And you have this new identity. And that's scary. If you're a person who has depression, anxiety, that's scary. That's serious experimentation. To be a whole new person, especially if you've been in a relationship, you've been in a relationship, and especially if you've been in a toxic relationship, if you've been in an abusive relationship, if you've been in a relationship with drug use, you've been in a relationship with alcoholism, you're going to have to become an entirely new person in order to move forward in life. And that takes bravery, that level of openness to experiment and try. Try. That's what experimentation is about. Let me try. Let me try to break this habit. Let me try to go to this place with more positive people. Let me try. Let me try to change my diet. Let me try to live without the TV. Exactly. Being vulnerable is little steps, how we test the trustworthiness of others. TJ, great point. You're absolutely right. You can't have healthy intimacy. And that's goes back to what we were talking about, the difference between being invulnerable and being stupid. You gotta be wise with who you connect with. Vulnerability is a great thing, but when you're just openly vulnerable to individuals who you haven't tested, you're gonna make a mistake. And that goes back to what we're talking about as well. Talking about here as well, experimentation. Experimentation. You're gonna test people. You're gonna experiment with people. You're gonna experiment to find out who you are when you're with this person, who you are when you're with that person. And just like anything else, when you do experiments, you got to write down what happens, and you got to try to deduce what's going to occur next, and you're going to run experiments to see how somebody's going to respond to certain things. Sue, hey, how you doing? It's stupid or having or numb, and I probably shouldn't use the term stupid. That's probably a harsh term to use, but I'm just using that term because I really want to stress how important it is for you to understand that vulnerability is important, but at the same time, protecting yourself is important too. You be like, as you mentioned, this you when you find someone that's trustworthy and you can trust them, then you can be intimate. And that's gonna take work, and it's gonna take bravery to have that kind of openness to trying new things and trying to be a new person. Collaboration is very important because there is really no civilization without collaboration. We don't have anything stable if human beings can't collaborate. What we're witnessing in our culture now, increase in violence and increase in crime and increase in crime against women and sex trafficking and all that stuff, it really is collaboration being torn down. People are unable to collaborate, so they take from each other. They're unable to work together in one harmonious whole civilization. So we decided to just take from each other and kill each other and beat each other, act aggressively towards one another. And we see that not only when we're talking about crime, but you see that in relationships too. This weird inability to collaborate, people trying to protect themselves and take resources for themselves. And the greatest resource really is just time. So people take time from other people, sex from other people, intimacy, love from other people, deceive other people to get what they want and then go about their way. Can't collaborate. You can't build anything without collaboration. You can't build a family, not a real family, without collaboration. You can't build a nation without collaboration. You can't build a community. You can't build anything. Every project that you see that's successful, that provides for people, that brings anything of value, requires a tremendous amount of collaboration. And without collaboration, we can't have anything. The cells in your body collaborate harmoniously. The atoms in your body collaborate harmoniously. Subatomic particles, they all collaborate harmoniously. And without the ability to collaborate with other human beings, you can't do anything great. Absolutely, Michelle. It becomes more and more important as the years go by. Absolutely. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like as a human being, we deserve greatness. There's a saying that I used to hear all the time from back in the hippie days. They would say paradise now, because people were throwing away the old religious concepts and the old religious paradigm of wanting heaven in the future. They would say, we want paradise now. We want heaven now. We want the great society and a great political system and freedom, justice, and equality. We want that now. We don't want to wait anymore. But we can't have that because we can't collaborate. But every single time you get large groups of people who can collaborate and work together, wonderful, beautiful things can happen. I mean, look at America, and I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm a polished American historian, but you can look at the country America. It was what? How many guys? Like 50 guys who said let's let's build a nation and rebel against the British. And they were all highly intelligent. They all spoke multiple languages, and they all ran businesses and all that stuff. And they, yeah, let's build a nation. We can do it, and just did it because they were all working together of one accord. It's amazing what you can do when you can collaborate. And if you take righteous people and put righteous people together who are not afraid, who are not scared, who are not unhealed and erratic, and get them to work together and collaborate, we can do great things. With the people just in this live stream right now, if everybody could work together or one accord to achieve one goal, we could do amazing things. But when you're hurt and you haven't healed and you don't trust anybody and you're trying to protect yourself and you're afraid to be vulnerable, then collaboration is impossible. And that's sad, because if you can't collaborate with other people, you can't build, but you also really have a hard time learning, because learning is a collaborative experience too. And that's why the next one, integration. What is integration? Integration is when you take something new and take something external and new and bring it into something and internalize it so you can create a new paradigm or create a paradigm shift. And a lot of times when you work with other people, you learn things from them. So you have to take what you learn from them and integrate it into yourself, integrate it into your daily routine, integrate it into your thinking process, and then you grow and you develop. But if you're scared to be vulnerable, you're blocking out the opportunities to learn. Learning requires vulnerability. Absorbing new information requires vulnerability. So you can't integrate new ideas into this mainframe of your consciousness. You running around still operating off the operating system you had before you got traumatized. I realized that when I used to work with kids, in the drug rehab facility where I worked, a lot of them would start using drugs because they had some deep trauma when they were young. I know kids who've been using drugs since they were 5. They're 15, 16 years old now, so they still think like 5-year-olds. Big, huge teenage bodies, still thinking like 5-year-olds. Because they were traumatized at 5, they put up their defense mechanisms at 5, and they haven't taken in any new information in order to integrate more information and more data within themselves so they can grow and develop. Exactly. Trauma thinking. So when you're afraid to be vulnerable, you can't integrate new ideas so you can grow. And it's obvious. That's the one thing I always stress to everybody. When I used to work with those kids, I used to stress to them, it's obvious that you have not grown. It's obvious you've been through trauma. It's obvious that you've been through trauma at a young age, because here you are 15, 16, 17 years old, and you're big and you're strong, but you still think and act like a 12-year-old. That's what happens to us as adults too. If you were in a relationship 10 years ago and a relationship became abusive and destructive 10 years ago, you might be 40, you might be 50, you might be 60 years old, but guess what's happening? You're still thinking like the person you were 10 years ago. You haven't grown because you're afraid to be vulnerable because you got hurt. Or you may have lost the capacity to be vulnerable because you haven't healed. And when you don't heal, what happens? You get stuck. Trust me, I've been there. I've been 30 years old after all the pain and trauma and depression I've been through. And I'm 30 years old. I'm still thinking like I'm 18, 19 years old. Still thinking like I'm 21 because I haven't healed from the pain of losing my father. And then I realized, wow, I'm still thinking and acting like I was when I was 21. I'm 30, 31. Time to grow up and change. But I was afraid to be vulnerable. So I wasn't integrating anything new within me. No new relationships, no new nothing. No new habits, no new nothing. No new experiences, no travel, no nothing. That's why I tell everybody it's important that you heal. Call out again. It's important that you heal. I lost my whole 20s because I didn't heal. You can relate to? Yeah. That's why it's important to heal. You got to heal so that you can open up and integrate new information in you. And I don't want nobody to get stuck. I lost my whole 20s. When those 20-year-old years where everybody's going through relationships and developing and growing and starting businesses, starting careers, going to school, all of that stuff. I missed out on all of those years of development because I didn't heal from my father's death. Couldn't integrate anything new into my operating system because I didn't want to be vulnerable. I was too afraid to be vulnerable. Was too afraid to lose somebody else or lose myself. And then last but not least, synchronization. If you're not willing to be vulnerable to an extent, it's hard to experience synchronization. What's synchronization? Synchronization is when things line up for you. You have a dream, you pursue your dream, and you'll notice that sometimes when you finally make up your mind to pursue your dream, all of a sudden you'll start bumping into people. You start meeting people who can connect you to the right person, who know this person, who know that person. You go places just wandering around, all of a sudden the opportunity will present itself out of nowhere. You'll say, I want this. And next thing you know, 2 days later, all of a sudden out of nowhere, exactly what you wanted just falls into your lap. Networking comes with ease. It does. When you know how to be vulnerable, it takes a certain amount of vulnerability to manipulate circumstance. You have to be vulnerable to what's around you, open to what's around you, open to the people around you. And once again, be cautious, but we want to be reasonably cautious. We don't want to completely shut the whole world out. Because if you shut the whole world out, you can't let these blessings in. You can't let these opportunities in. You got to open up. Yeah, a city gate can keep an invading army out, but at the same time, a lot of times with these ancient armies, you would see what they would do is when an army was trying to siege a city, when a city was under siege, the city would close the gates and would not let people in. So you know what the army would do? The army would just sit there and wait. Because yes, you close the gate and the army can't get into your city now, but at the same time, you can't get food, water, and supplies. Your vulnerability in personal and professional life. Well, you know, at the same time, whether it's personal or professional, you're bringing the same skill set everywhere you go. Is you're bringing you with you everywhere you go. Who you are at work is not going to be totally drastically different from who you are at home. Exactly. They sit there and wait it out, and they can't get in the supplies that they need. Yeah, they're protected from the invading army, but they can't get any of the things that they need. So if you sit there and wait it out long enough, what's going to happen? The people locked inside the city gates are going to starve to death. And eventually they'll open up the gates, but then when they open up the gates, they'll be vulnerable for defeat. Same thing with relationships. You put up your wall, you want to block everything out, but you can't get the things that you need. Then eventually you get so starved for what you need. Hey, come on in. We've all been there. You want to protect yourself from anybody toxic, so you block everything out, but you're not getting the love and the relationship and appreciation that you need. You're not getting that light that you need. So what happens is eventually you become starved for attention. You become starved for love. You become starved for affection. And after a while, you open up the gates and let whoever wants to come in come in. I've been there. you go around with these really strict morals and these really strict rules and this really strict code, and you block everybody out because you're trying to protect yourself. And those morals and those standards start dropping and dropping and dropping. Next thing you know, you open up the door, you're like, hey, whoever want to come in, come in. And you find yourself in bed with somebody you wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Been a single mother for 16 years. Sue, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Like I said, have to be cautious. You have to be reasonably cautious. I definitely understand where you're coming from. And nobody wants you to rush into an unhappy relationship. Nobody wants you to do anything to jeopardize yourself or your family. And I get it. You got to protect yourself. You know, got to protect yourself. Got to protect yourself. But at the same time, you gotta nurture yourself as well. That's the one thing that I really want to stress. Yes, protect yourself, but also nurture yourself. You need to connect with other humans. I see a lot of single mothers who carry the burden alone out of fear of what's going to happen to the kids. And single mothers will get emotionally starved, psychologically starved, emotionally drained. You need sunlight too. All the light and love you have, trying to protect your family, you need light too. Be cautious, but let the sun come in sometimes. And once again, I'm not telling, I will never disrespect you and tell you anything about how to raise your family. But I just want to say, let the light into your heart too, because you need it. I got two sons too. I don't want to bring nobody wacky around my kids, but at the same time, I understand I'm a man with a man's needs. TJ, that's very true. That's very true. Very true. When you starving, you know, there's a rapper who had a line. He said, "I might dine on swine if I'm hungry enough." And he's a guy who don't eat pork at all. So when he said that line, kind of connects to what you're saying. He said, I might dine on swine if I'm hungry enough. We'll put up with a lot of things when we're not getting our needs met. That's why it's important to make sure we meet our needs. Yeah. And peace and blessings to you, Sue. Peace and blessings. I definitely understand, you want to keep your kids safe at all costs. So yeah, if you feel like it's safe to open up a little bit, open up a little bit. Like someone mentioned earlier, test the situation, make sure it's safe. Test people, make sure they're safe. As saying in the Bible, taste and see that it is good. Make sure it's good first, and then don't then slowly open yourself up like a flower. You see how a flower is. A flower is closed up real tight. Nothing can get in. And then when it gets the right amount of love and the right amount of sunlight, the right amount of water, what happens? It starts to open up and it blooms and it's beautiful, right? You see this beautiful blooming flower open up when it lets the light in. And that's you. Don't be afraid to bloom when things are safe and things are okay. But yeah, I see that it's a lot of us in here who have these same feelings of wanting to connect and wanting to open up. And you know what, though? I really do believe that love and that connection that we're all looking for. And I'm gonna say it because trust me, I know we live in a cynical time. Nobody want to talk about love. Nobody want to hear any of this stuff. And maybe it's just us. maybe we the last. Maybe we the last ones. But that's okay. I've always been one of a few. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And I do believe that if we stay on the path, protecting ourselves, developing ourselves, empowering ourselves, we can have the things that we desire. Because it's innate within us to desire these things, and it's innate in all human beings to desire these things. We're all rushing headlong towards each other and afraid we won't find each other because we're running around with our eyes closed. Open up your eyes so you can see who's in front of you and give them some love. Too vulnerable to say we need love? Nah. Nah, we can say it. We need love. It's okay. We need love. We need other things as well too. But we'll develop ourselves and strengthen ourselves enough so that we can go out and seek the things that we want and desire. And I'll be the corny melodramatic one who'll say that we can have these things. We will have these things. We just got to build ourselves up. Build ourselves up so we can open up and be vulnerable. Be vulnerable but wise. Be born again. Be ye born again. And everything will work out. It's meant to. Well, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. I do. Well, guys, it's late. 11:11 on Wednesday night. I gotta get up super early, take my boys to school. So I'm gonna head out, and I want to say thank you to everybody who watched. I want to say peace and blessings and love to all of y'all. I'm so happy that you guys were here, and I'm so happy you guys got to sit and watch me rant for a little while and just get all of this stuff off my chest. And thank you guys who opened up and who shared. Thank you, because I know sometimes it's hard talking about these things. So I'm glad that we got this safe space where everybody can just let it out. Thank you, Michelle, for being you. Rita, peace. Trish, peace and blessings. Yes, peace and blessings. TJ, you're very welcome. You guys have a wonderful night. Peace and blessings to all of you guys. Sue, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, good night, guys.